you guys know the Chanel clothing brand. They are allegedly suing a company by the name of Shiva and Juke.
Oh, Shiva and Juke. It's a jewellery company, right?
It's a jewelry company.
Yeah.
And what they've basically done, what Shiva and Juke has basically done is they have.
So we're back again
Round two
this week, round 2.
for another discussion. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the second installment of the SA Jewellery podcast. We didn't bring our water, like we said the last time. We're not really focused. I don't know what's wrong with us. Maybe next time you'll see a water kind of sitting over there. Maybe if there's a water brand that wants to sponsor us.
You know,
That would be nice. Okay.
that would be great.
How you doing, Kanya?
I'm good.
Are you well?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, well, as well. Not too bad. Busy time, but we get through it. So for today, what we want to actually discuss, we found a very interesting article that I think would be a very, good topic for us to speak on. It's basically speaking about Chanel. You guys know the Chanel clothing brand. They are allegedly suing a company by the name of Shiva and Juke.
Oh, Shiva and Juke. It's a jewellery company, right?
It's a jewelry company.
Yeah.
And what they've basically done, what Shiva and Juke has basically done is they have taken the C monogram trademark logo of Chanel, and they've used that in the jewelry that they make. And we thought, I saw this article, and I thought, okay, this would be something very cool to talk about, especially from the point of view of trademarks.
And also from the point of view of, as designers.
And as a designer, obviously the thing that you're designing is intellectual property because it's something that you've thought of. So we just wanted to, talk about that, and maybe we can give some advice of what you as a budding jewelry designer, or just any designer in general, what you can do to protect yourself and to make sure that the work that you're doing is protected, and to make sure that somebody else out there doesn't take the hard work that you've put in and make it as their own.
But can you though? Can you fully protect your own, designs or intellectual property? Like, can you fully say that, that is done? I mean, if you look at how, for instance, here in Joburg, we have that small street, and they always, basically doing fake taking what's already existing,
whatever else.
doing their own.
It's interesting you're saying that, because with Louis Vuitton specifically, I do know, I forgot which documentary it is. They actually have it's been recorded that their brand is the most counterfeited brand in the world, which is why, funny enough, and for those of you that don't know, Louis Vuitton doesn't carry the stuff that they do this season into next season. Every stuff that they've made, they'll burn it to make sure that nobody can, as far as they can. Obviously, there are people that try and counterfeit. But as far as they can, they take the stuff and then they burn it. So that's how they're, I think, trying to protect their trademark.
Sure, but it's
a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, especially because, you do put up stuff on social media, and there's always images. So if I go to a show, for example, where a designer is showcasing, and I take photos and I enjoyed my time there, even if the designer might burn the stuff, I'm still gonna I can still say, to the smallest little people, hey, this is what I want, make me this. So it's a very tricky.
It's a tricky one.
It's a tricky one, but still, how do you then, what is a trademark? So what is a trademark?
Just to speak broadly about what a trademark is, obviously every country has its own laws, but I think there are similarities across the board. So if we speak about a trademark, I'll go to the CIPC website just so that we can understand. I want to read it specifically.
Okay. So while Tato's doing that, basically what it is it's what distinguishes your brand from the rest of the existing brands. So it's what people identify your goods and services with. So obviously your logo, in this case with Chanel, since they're suing because it's basically their monogram, and that is what they trademarked. So for a jeweler to now come and, this jewelry company to come now and take their trademark and use that to make money and make profits out of it, they are then suing. So a trademark is basically what distinguishes, like in simple terms, it's basically what distinguishes you from everyone else. And also, like in, there's different classes apparently of trademarks. So when you're registering, if you're going to go onto CIPC, for example, or depending on
in South Africa,
there's different classes also. You cannot, apparently, if I'm selling jewelry, I cannot register my trademark as something under fashion.
Oh, because you're jewelry specific.
It's jewelry specific, so I cannot now go and register my thing under the food market or whatever.
Okay, because
so
it
has to be so there's different classes also that people need to be aware of when they're registering their
so that's something you should look out for then specifically if you are in the jewelry industry. You trying to register your company and maybe your logo and so on. So the CIPC definition, it says a trademark is a brand name, a slogan, or a logo. It identifies the services or goods of one person and distinguishes it from the goods and services of another.
Yeah.
So like what Kanya was saying earlier on, if a great example would be, if you look at Coca-Cola, for instance, their logo, we know what the logo, it's the writing that they have kind of trademarked how to write the whole Coca-Cola with the red around it. And then their brand name is Coca-Cola. They don't have a slogan. The slogan always changes. So the slogan would be, for instance, something that will identify you to the brand. So for instance, with Nike, their slogan is just do it.
Yeah.
And their logo would be the swoosh.
Yeah.
Sometimes it has the Nike written on top, but I think it interchanges.
Yeah.
And then their brand name, their trademark brand name is Nike. Okay, so those are basically the differences between those three things. And I think why this is important and why I think Chanel was suing is because even though, like what Kanya's saying, you could go to a shop and maybe take a photo and then somebody says, oh, can you make this for me? What they've now done is, I think, putting it on their website and then publicize English.
It came by a boat, Baba. It doesn't belong.
What's the word? Publicizing, I think that's the word. But them doing that and then they're making money from that is the issue, or like a lot of money from it, because now they are taking it and then they are maybe casting it and making multiples of it and then they're making money from that. Whereas maybe if they were just doing it once off, I mean, Chanel would never have caught wind of that if they were not putting it on their website as well, you see. So,
but also the argument there was that Chanel was arguing that there's also no proof that, it's something that is original.
Yes.
And also they are not also really saying, giving credit to Chanel. So that's also their point of,
if you had given credit to Chanel and say, this is inspired by Chanel, then maybe you could kind of get away with it, but also at the same time, Chanel would have to be aware.
Had to be aware.
Yeah, Chanel could easily just say no. We don't want to be associated with that.
Yeah.
So I think from a designer point of view, those are the kind of things you have to look out for. So, for instance, another thing that from a personal experience. So whenever people want me to make them a piece, a lot of times they'll come with a picture of what it is that they're looking for, right? So that picture is what you use for reference or for inspiration. It would be, if I was now going to take that picture and it's something that is trademarked, you see there's a difference. If it's trademarked, it means it's by law, it belongs to that company. If I had to take that thing and which has been trademarked and I start making multiples of it and then I put it on my website or wherever it is where people can see it and I start gaining profit from that without acknowledging the original brand, I could get into trouble for that.
Yeah.
Right.
But I also think, I mean, as a designer, it is then our duty as well to, communicate such with our clients. If people come and they want a custom made thing, these are the conversations that you need to have with people.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that to protect yourself and also to not get into trouble with the other brand. I mean, I'll put the images up for you guys to see. this is clearly it's been taken from the Chanel brand. Like you can see now on the screen,
yeah,
that interlocking CC
monogram
logo is clearly there, and these guys are not acknowledging that it belongs to Chanel.
But also, I think what makes it also tricky is that Chanel does also have their own jewelry.
Yeah.
You know, like, so if you are a Chanel fanatic, you know, you could easily mistake
it. And then that's taking money away from
And that's
Chanel.
taking money away from, but also besides the taking money away, it's also that thing of if the product is poor, for example, it's not of good quality, and the service that this jewelry company is now, you know, giving to its clients, people could easily associate it
with Chanel,
with the reputation. Yeah, like it's a reputation now. It's, you know, it could damage Chanel's reputation. So it's a lot of stuff is at risk, and I think, you know, as designers we really would have to be aware of such things on our end. You know, that when you are finding inspiration, you
kind of do your due diligence, go all the way around. That's why, like, we teach design at a university at UJ, and we go through the whole design process with the students to make sure that whatever product that they come up with at the end, there isn't a risk of you plagiarizing, because this is, you know, another word for it would be plagiarism. And plagiarism, again, it's taking someone's idea and presenting it as your own. You can get into trouble for that. You could lose whatever license that you have if it's a different industry. And if you're taking something that's not yours, you will get into trouble for that.
I
think that also the other big thing that made it, adding on to Kanya's point, what made this quite a big thing, is Duke and Shiva, or Shiva and Duke decided to do is they actually added a little label on the jewelry that they're selling, and they called it SD Shiva. Like, they added it to the end. You see, it's adding more to what Kanya's saying, where they didn't even acknowledge that it belongs to Chanel. They put it as their own.
Now it makes it seem like it's their, you know, a brilliant idea and invention and all of that, which is problematic. Did they win the case? Did Chanel win the case?
I think they did win the case, especially because it was undeniable that this belongs to Chanel. So, you know, look out for that kind of thing. You don't wanna. Firstly, you don't want to be dishonest, especially in our industry. You know, like it's a discussion that can stem into many other things, because if you're not honest about what you're producing, to the point of, you know, you'll tell a client, this is gold when it's actually brass. Imagine now you hallmark something and say that this is, you know, 9 karat gold, yellow gold, or 18 karat yellow gold, when meanwhile it's brass. You know, they look similar, but they are not the same.
It's not the same.
They are definitely not the same thing. You know, to the client, after you've polished it, it looks great, and like, oh yeah, this is. You're being dishonest, and then if you get found out, you know, if you do have a gold license, oh, you're definitely losing that thing. You know,
bye bye.
You don't want that to be the case. So, I think honestly, just from even beyond jewelry, just be as honest as you can. And it'll be beneficial to you in the long run.
And also something that is, you know, that I found interesting about the whole trademark thing is that, you know, it's important to be aware also that sometimes you can register your company, you know, so you say, you know, TR Jewellery, and you'll find that, okay, you're able to register. So when you're registering your company, you usually get options, right, of 3 different names, and then they check whether those names have been used or not. And then if it's not, then you successfully register your company. So the same applies with the trademark registration. So, and also these two don't actually cross-check what is happening on the registration side of the company in terms of the company. So your name might be available for the company, but it may not be available when you want to trademark TRJ as a thing, because the two different platforms.
Are you talking about the name now?
The name, yes, the name or your logo or whatever. It, like, whatever you're registering as a company name might not be available when you're registering for trademark. Yes, if you want to register your company name as a trademark.
That's interesting.
So you have to do the due diligence.
What this reminds me of, for those wrestling fans out there, do you remember when WWE was called WWF? they had to now change their name from WWF to WWE because I think when they registered, so the one is World Wrestling Federation, that's the wrestling one, and then the other one is the Worldwide Fund, or it's like a World Wildlife Fund, something like that.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I know it's a wildlife related company. So even though I think WWF, like the wrestling, registered beforehand, or maybe they registered at the same time, they went to court to try and battle for the name because they're both very recognizable. No one calls it World Wrestling Federation. It was WWF.
Yeah.
It was like a big court battle because of what Kanya's now saying.
Yeah.
One was probably registered
just as a company,
but
yes,
not
and
as
not
a name.
trademarked.
Yes,
The
so
name
that's where the
wasn't
fight.
trademarked. Yeah, so it's important that if you are registering your company, you might as well just go through the process of trademarking it. If you know this is something that you really wanting to take, through, like, really take on for the long run. So you might as well just make sure that you check whether you can trademark it as well, so that in the long run, once you start making it big and you really have a clientele and now you want to make this a trademark thing, then you don't run into issues where somebody else might have taken your thing.
All this work you've done, for no reason,
gone to waste. Yeah.
So I think that's the gist of what we want to discuss, that whatever you're doing, double check that you're not plagiarizing, that you aren't infringing on any trademark laws, because when it comes back to bite you, like this company, they're not a small company. Shiva and Juke, they're based in America, but the fact that they were able to sell as much as they have to gain the recognition of Chanel caught on based on the sales that they were seeing, means that they are they're a big company that now got into trouble, and now your reputation is gone.
Yeah, because people go through a lot of they spend time, money, effort building their brands. So now, even for us, if somebody were to take like an idea that you've worked so hard for and eventually it has paid off, along the way, you've built a specific reputation and people know you for delivering a certain type of service and goods, and also the way you even treat your clients, it becomes part of your brand identity. So when somebody else comes in and does something that's the same or similar to yours, then it's a problem, because they are also running a company and they also, deal with people in a different manner. And this might then affect my existing company, because people will associate and some people won't be able to differentiate
the difference between the two.
And who's actually legit and who isn't. And there goes your... So I think, that's why they had to sue. So,
So what would we say for, obviously, people watching this are jewelry designers, or maybe they're interested in jewelry, and lessons that we can learn from this Chanel situation, where they are obviously entitled to sue this other company. What kind of lessons do you think that we could maybe give to even the students that we're teaching, or people that maybe want to start their own brand? And
I think, continue.
No, that's it.
Oh, okay. So I think it's register your company, trademark your stuff, and also try by all means to work from a place where you're just being honest about where you are getting your inspiration, and so that you don't run into issues. But also always cross-check stuff, especially if you're doing collections, because as designers, you're always like putting out new collections, you're always doing things to get attention and whatnot. So you need to be very careful. And we've seen it even in different industries, where I remember I think one of the, was it J. Cole or someone, one of the rappers got into trouble for using this other visual artist's work as part of his music video, and it became a huge thing because people kept tagging her, and
Oh,
she's
no.
big within her industry. I just forgot the name,
Oh,
but
and now people were
like, but
nice
she's
work.
taken this idea from this person, and she wasn't aware that he has now gone as far as create this music video, and obviously he's going to be making money from
Yeah.
it. And I think there was some legal stuff that went on there, but
I wonder
basically
who won that one.
no, I didn't follow on that, but basically it happens a lot.
Yeah.
And I think it's not only just about jewelry specific, but just like designers in general, and besides designers, also companies in general.
Companies,
Yeah.
Yeah. In a jewelry space, like, if you, in case you're not aware, you can trademark like a design. So I'm thinking
Patent.
or patent.
If it's
Maybe the word is
yes, it's patent, because now if
trademark
if it's novel, and it's innovative and whatnot, then you can patent
You can
that
patent the actual design,
the
so that
actual
no one else
can use it. So let's say,
I
for
think Browns
example,
did that with their Protea.
with the Protea, yeah,
I could
think
be
so.
wrong, but I think the Protea ring that you see, that you associate with Browns,
Yeah.
they have it with their solitaires, and I think they have earrings as well made with that. They have patented that. But isn't patent more of an invention?
Yeah, it is. That's what I'm saying. Like, if it's an invention, I'm not sure whether for Browns and the design.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure, but I do know that when you're patenting, it has to be something that is
Novel and
yeah,
new, yeah.
and it's new. So, for example, if I were to now start making, create a new type of metal, for example, then I can patent that,
because
it's
creation.
my creation. It's new. No one has has done it before.
Correct.
Then I can patent that. And even if I do decide to start selling this metal,
Yeah.
I'm the one who then produce. So anybody else who then eventually, if somebody gets wind of
Yes.
how I did it or whatever, they would then be taking
Your thing.
Yes.
KFC did that. You know that. Remember how
with their recipe.
Yeah, that original recipe chicken. I think they had 3 people. The original guy, the KFC guy, the colonel, and 2 other people who had the actual recipe. I think Coca-Cola might also have a similar thing. That's why people cannot replicate the taste of Coke.
Yeah. Because people have to sign
NDAs and
non-disclosures. And on that point,
Yes.
actually, if you are going into meetings and you have this grand idea and you know that it's like it's innovative and whatnot, don't just go into meetings and just like, hey,
information.
I need you as a sponsor. This is what I have on the table. This is what I've come up with.
Yeah.
And you leave it at that, because people steal people's ideas, and people
All
who
the
have the
time.
money to run with it will run with it. So non-disclosures are very, very important.
Always.
Because then that's what you use in any legal battle to say, on this date I discussed this with this person, and this is what happened
Yeah.
and transpired during the meeting, and therefore this is definitely something that I did.
There's so
It's like that
much.
Vodacom
yeah.
thing or whatever.
With the please call me. Remember that the guy didn't.
And it's still
get
an
his money.
ongoing
It's still
thing.
ongoing.
Yeah.
And Vodacom made so much money from that.
Yeah.
So,
So
protect yourself.
protect yourself as the person who has a product that they want to put out there, but also
else?
you must make sure that you do not do the same to other people, where you steal people's ideas and you don't recognize their brilliance.
I know it's a bit tricky as well, because they aren't, when we speak about original ideas, we do see, like, even in fashion trends, we'll see a company, you see, that's where it becomes, where do we know what the line is? Because
Yeah.
if I have a fashion, trends come and go, and then people always get inspiration from each other, and you might look at something and say, this kind of looks similar to, but then how do you prove that you aren't infringing on any trademark laws or any patent laws, or You know?
But then again, that's when a trademarking becomes important, because just because I have the idea and just because I've been sitting on the idea, not really doing anything about it, if somebody has gone as far as registering it as their own, then there's nothing I can do. So the minute I feel like something has potential, or I wanna brand myself in a particular way, and what I'm going to produce is it's going to be. I believe in it that much, then I might as well do the trademark so that I don't run into that issue.
That problem.
I mean, remember when I did the whole mask, the African mask thing?
Oh,
it was
yeah.
like years ago. Like, we discussed it. I
Yeah.
showed you. I had like these brilliant ideas where I was like, okay, African mask. Then I started seeing designers actually doing the stuff, and I can't say no.
So they were first to market.
So they were first to market. So now I can't put out. Well, I can if I wanted to, but I'm just saying that now it's like, how do you prove it that you initially had this when people weren't even really,
Now people are on it.
People are now on it, and now I'm seeing it everywhere. But I'm just like, oh, this was like an idea. I costed everything. It was there, but I never actually let it materialize into a public platform. So therefore, whoever then comes after does it after, even if it's years later, if people see them first, they're gonna think they're the original.
They're the original. Facebook is a good example. Mark Zuckerberg wasn't. We've all seen that movie. I think The Social Network.
Yeah.
It was the twins that came up with the idea, but
Hey man, if you've got an idea and you think it's got potential, listen.
put it out.
Put it out and
see
what happens.
Phew. We need to be. I think we need to be wise. There's a lot of laws, guys, out there. Even with us, registering the SA Jewellery company and our own companies individually. There's so much that you have to kind of wrap your head around, and if you leave something to chance or you just don't do as much research into it, you'll find yourself kind of in a tight situation where you're like, but now, like, imagine if I didn't register TR Jewelry or Tato Khatebe Jewelry, and then somebody else whose name is also Tato Khatebe decides to start a jewelry company and they take the name. Now I have to, unless I have the financial muscle to fight it in court to prove that it was mine first.
Because also that is expensive.
That's expensive.
Like, the legal battle is also another expense on its own, because lawyers have to be paid to keep showing up to fight your battle. So
we just have to be careful.
We just have to be careful.
It'll all be okay.
Yeah, it will be. It has to. There's no other way.
Anything else you wanted to add?
No, I think that's enough.
It was a meaty conversation. I think it was cool.
Num.
Num. Num. We will, so we'll have another discussion on a different topic very soon. As I said, we want to put these out every 2 weeks or so. But we'll definitely be coming back with another topic for us to discuss. And as I said at the beginning, if there's any comments, or if you want to, maybe if there's something that we said that was incorrect, or you have more information, let us know. Or
you would like to actually invite a friend who knows better about what we discussed today, and we have like a full-on session with that person, like any lawyer, who deals with such.
Yes.
Welcome to do so. But otherwise, if you are keen on finding out about trademarking and how to register, you can go on CIPC.
CIPC.co.za.
Yeah, that's where you'll find.
If you're in South Africa.
If you're in South Africa.
African one, And other countries, I'm not too sure what the companies are that deal with trademarks and things like that.
I do know another company called Collective Intelligence. It does deal with patents and trademarks as well. So that's cool. That's another thing.
Cool.
Oh, and by the way, I'm wearing an earring from Sister Funk.
Very nice.
Very nice.
It's what's the material?
It's polymer clay.
Polymer clay.
Yeah.
So
it's quite a thing lately, like a lot of designers.
They're very nice.
Going into
nice.
that, yeah.
And I'm not wearing any jewelry except
and then
for my
also
small chain.
like a palm bracelet. I did this a long time ago.
Are those skulls, kind of?
Yes, they are.
What are you trying to tell us?
Death to the pandemic.
Death to the pandemic, indeed. Okay. This has been great.
This has been great, guys.
Thank you very much.
Don't mind us.
We will talk again very soon. As usual, like, comment, subscribe, tell people to tell their people, and we'll tell more people to tell more people.
Yeah.
Until we meet again.
See you next time.